It's all yours.
Thank you very much. Welcome everyone. I have a funny story to tell you first, because I've prepared an opening line for this presentation, but I was not aware all the previous presenters will use the same opening line. So normally I should skip it, but then I've learned, I spent so much time trying to prepare that opening line that I'm going to say it. Ho sentito questione persone che non parlano italiano, quindi parlerò inglese. And I've been trying to say that all day today, so I had it right in the beginning. So, my name is Kris Glabinsky, and I'm from Lybra.Tech. And Lybra.Tech is a revenue management system for hotels. What that means is that when you apply Lybra into a hotel, it makes the revenues increase in hotels. And in order to do that, Lybra is using two ingredients, big data and artificial intelligence. So since we have a BigDday today, I will talk about big data. But if you notice from my title, it says commercial. It doesn't say scientist, programmer, it says commercial, which means I am actually the user of big data and not a person who collects big data, maps big data, cleans big data, etc. All that seems to me very complex. To me, what is important is how we use big data. But in order to explain you how I use big data and why I use big data and how it works with Lybra and why I'm with Lybra, I need to take you back to the history. And I will show you one date, which is a very specific, but please don't count how many years ago it was. This date, can you, okay? This date is the 5th November 1972. No counting, okay? Just hear me out. This is a very specific date because of one reason. I was born on that date, but also there's something else specific about that date. It was Sunday. Has any one of you been born on Sunday, if you know? One person, two person, okay. Four person. Well done. So you will connect with me when I say this. There's one more thing that is important about that day when I was born. On my birth certificate, it says I was born at midday, 12 o'clock. Now, how many of you born on Sunday were born at midday? Two people. Well done. There we will connect. Because you see, the moment I was born and the moment I started to cry, all the aunts, mothers and grandmothers and uncles and dads said, "Oh, this is going to be a lazy person. Whoever was born Sunday midday must be a lazy person." And you know what? I'm really interested in neuro-linguistic programming systems because I am the example of how you can be programmed. You know, the first gift I received was this, a little outfit which said, "Born to be lazy." How can you expect from a person being programmed like that to become someone else, right? So I'm very, very lazy. But, you know, my mom told me that, "You know, boy, you're very lazy, it drives me crazy, but I hope sometime your laziness will help humanity." And I kept that somewhere behind my back until I heard another really trend-setting person saying something like this: "I choose a lazy person to do a hard job because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it." So I found my path. Suddenly, my laziness, I was trying to fight all my life with everything, school, everything. My laziness was fighting with it, but suddenly I found my path. So I started to use my laziness to try to find an easy way of doing things. So to me, laziness meant easy. And get that, I was gifted for that. It's like a superpower. I'm lazy, that's my superpower. So my career and all my life was around airlines and hotel industry. And get that, I was in revenue management, the most complex area of airline and hotels. So much data, so much calculations, so much algorithms. You know, it needed to have me to get into there and help these guys out because it was so complex. So I've been dealing with an old traditional technology for revenue management, but I just could not cope with it. It was too complex for me. I was too lazy for it. You know, it was all the big data, all the statistics, all the numbers and numbers and numbers, too much for me. I was also dealing with the new technology, with the new products that came up, and I still could not cope with that. I was too lazy to digest everything at the same time and have all these questions, raising all the other questions, and it could never work out well. So then I've met Lybra, and everything changed. I am with Lybra not because I'm lazy, because Lybra allows me to be lazy. And I will explain you to that. I will talk about big data, but I will use something simple to visualize it, okay? So here we have the Rubik's Cube. Who likes to play Rubik's Cube? Most of us. Most of us have tried the Rubik's Cube, right? But imagine big data is to me like a Rubik's Cube. When I have my Rubik's Cube, which I like to play with, imagine that my Rubik's Cube has all the sides with all different types of data, hotel data I mean. So the yellow part will be the occupancy data, the blue part will be average price data, on the back the orange side will be market data, the bottom side, the white side will be reservations data, then we're going to have revenue data on the red side, and behind the green side will be rate shopping data from competition and from the market. Now imagine all that big data is a Rubik's Cube. What you can do with that, you just play it. You don't really think where the data comes from, on do I need that data or not, it's just there. It's a Rubik's Cube. So you try to twist the Rubik's Cube in order to get more information that we really need in revenue management. And in fact, every single cube of that type of data can actually mean something else. So in terms of revenue, for example, you talk room type, sources, channels, segments, because blah, blah, blah. Lots of information for every side of the cube. And when you have the cube in your hand, you start to play. You start to twirl it, and then you move it across between blue, average rate, and yellow occupancy. You talk about RevPAR. You move it to a side and you add it a little bit red. You're talking about performance between average price, occupancy, and revenue. You move it again and you add a little white with blue. You're talking reservations and average price, and you're talking pickups and the trends. And when you add to that a little bit of yellow, you get forecasting. And forecasting is very important in revenue management. It's a crucial thing. The way you forecast, the way you perform, and the way you can predict what's going to happen in the future. Then you add a little bit of orange thing with the white thing, and you get market intelligence. You need to have market intelligence, otherwise you're lost, you're blind. And then you shift your cube a little bit, and then you get a little bit of green side, which is price competition, where you can use that together with your reservations data for price optimization. Because all we need to do in revenue management is predict the future, foresee what's happening, and then improve our performance according to what we can forecast. And then we apply the prices, the best optimal prices, to gain the best revenue. Simple as that. But then you need to have the Rubik's Cube to actually play with it. When you talk about big data and we start to dig down into the bottom of the big data, we get really, really complex. Instead of having everything of all that information that we can get from the Rubik's Cube, we get this. That's me. Very easy. That's how I really like the technology to work for me. But in the past, big data companies, they bring in all these details, separated together. How many of you have dismantled Rubik's Cube and tried to put it together? I could never work it. I could have probably, but I was too lazy. It took too long time for me. Then you have some companies which will bring you some big data, structured, neat, and clean. But man, this is too deep. How do you play with that? Well, you can deep dive into one color, another color, but boy, this is boring. You want to play with the Rubik's Cube. Some companies think about Rubik's Cube, but they don't give you all the data. They give you partial data. But without completeness of data, you can't really conclude what you really want to conclude with, so then you get complexity again. And then some others try to pretend they know how to do big data and how to work it out. We are not talking about them. You do that. So we will put that on the side, okay? And then because it's all so complex, people present you with all these manuals, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 22, chapter 52 of revenue management handbooks and how to use the technologies in the systems, and then you have to have a specialist in the hotel that deals with that only, which you have to pay for. And then, you know, this is really not fun. This is like going to IKEA, buying a Rubik's Cube, which says, do it yourself. Crazy. So Lybra is actually like a Rubik's Cube to me. It allows me to be lazy because I can enjoy playing with my Rubik's Cube. It's got automation, does everything automatically. Even if there's bits of data that these brilliant guys are bringing in together, all the data is automatically put for me so that I can work it with my hotels. It's very easy to use. I mean, really, you can actually use it in one hand. It's very complete. All the information that you would have looked for that you need is already there. There's nothing missing. It's very intelligent. It has to work with me. I'm lazy, but that does not mean I'm not smart, right? And then it's fun for me to use it, and most of all, it's effective. It's working with the hotels. So this is what I think about big data. You can really drill down into details and go into how to get the data, how to analyze the data, etc., etc. But what is very, very important is to make that data easy to use. Because if someone like me, born midday on Sunday, can use it and can have fun with it, all the other hoteliers and all the other people will do so as well. So I guess long for waiting, the coffee break, isn't it? Or maybe the questions. So please.
You know, these guys know me for a long time now. You hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So these guys know me for a long time now, and I just gave them a piece of paper, and I'm more a marketing guy, you know. So I just, whenever it comes to revenue management presentation, super boring. And that was probably the best one I ever.
Well, thank you very much.
I don't know about you guys, but
I have superpowers because I'm lazy.
Look, so tomorrow I will just put my wake-up call instead of 6 a.m. I will put it at midday if I can do a presentation like this. Okay, that's.
I'm not sure if my superpowers can be taught, but we can try.
So no question for me.
Okay.
You guys? Any question?
It's easy. It's easy. So thank you very much. Thank you, Lybra. Thank you guys for presenting, and let's go for a coffee. Long dessert. Thank you.